Welcome to the Body Nerd Show, empowering you with the super uncomplicated things you need to know about self-care and movement so that you too can wake up every day pain-free. I'm your host, Alexandra Ellis, and I'm a coach, writer, former yogi, kettlebell devotee, and 100% body nerd. So, are you ready? Let's get nerdy! Welcome back. You're listening to episode 25 of the Body Nerd Show. On today's episode, I'm sharing all about tension headaches, from what they are, common causes, and what you can do right now to get rid of them once and for all. This topic idea came out of a conversation that went down in the Body Nerds Facebook group. So if you are not in there already, head on over to aewellness.com/podcast, click the link and request access right away. Over there at aewellness.com/podcast, I also have links to come join me on Instagram, where I share weekly body work fixes. I'm at Hala Formala. Latest blog post and new is the Body Freedom Self-Assessment, which is a free quiz that, based on your responses, will guide you towards the best next step for you to get rid of any tension, stiffness, soreness, and pain. So again, head on over to aewellness.com/podcast to get all the goods, all the links, and that is in the show notes as well. But let us get into tension headaches. I used to get tension headaches all the time. Honestly, it was probably a bi-weekly occurrence of a tension headache that left me completely incapacitated. Some days it was just annoying to have neck pain that was just radiating through my entire skull. And other days I literally laid on the floor and did nothing because the pain was just so intense. And I honestly didn't know what to do. And I think that not knowing really stops us in our tracks because we're not sure what will actually make any change. And there's the risk, especially when you feel so awful, that anything might make it worse. And this was probably about 5 years or so. I don't know, time all runs in together, but many years have passed since then. And the thing that really opened my eyes to what was going on, and this idea that you didn't have to live with tension headaches all of the time, was during a facial, surprisingly. Now, I didn't realize how much tension I was carrying in my neck and jaw until that fateful day when my esthetician touched my cheek and I nearly jumped off the table. It was awful. It was so sensitive, even to the touch. And I didn't know because you don't touch your face in that way. She was massaging into my neck and into my face, and it was terrible. And while it was really, really uncomfortable in that moment, when I went home, it felt so much better because I walked in there with a headache. And if you've ever had a tension headache, especially for me too, it would happen at night. I would go to bed and I would just hope and pray that by the morning time it would go away. I wasn't really doing anything specifically. And so when I walked into my esthetician's office with a headache yet again, I think that she knew on a deeper level that something else was going on. And so that really set me on this journey to figure out what my issue was and what I could do to fix it. And that's exactly what this episode today is all about. Because I didn't have the telltale signs of TMJ or jaw issues. I would ask my dentist, what do you think? I'm having some jaw pain from time to time. And there wasn't any, extra wear on my teeth that would indicate traditional TMJ, but my jaw was clicking and my jaw was sensitive to the touch, and I kept having tension headaches and my neck hurt, and it just seemed like there was no end in sight, and I didn't really know what to do. So I got poked in the cheek, the face cheek, by my esthetician. Shout out to Sybil. She'll be on a future episode. We're going to talk to her about skin stuff. But that day, it was all about the jaw. So a tension headache is pretty much this broad category of any type of headache that is dull and aching head pain. You can get sensations of tightness or pressure that are across your forehead or the sides of your head into your temple or even the back of your skull. Oftentimes there's tenderness in the scalp, the neck, and the shoulder muscles. And I don't know about you, but for me, it felt like I couldn't even move my head around. And if I did, I had to be extra, extra careful. Everything just felt so super fragile. On episode 14, I talked more about neck. So if neck pain, jaw pain, tension headaches are something that you're experiencing, definitely go check out that. I'll link to it in the show notes. But essentially, your head is like a big bowling ball that's balanced on top of a teeny tiny toothpick. And it's up to your neck muscles to hold it there. And for every inch that your head comes forward of your shoulders, it adds an additional 10 pounds of pressure to the muscles of your neck and upper back. So instead of, a 12-pound head, all of a sudden it's 22-pound head, 32-pound head, 42-pound head. And so these small muscles that were designed really just to stabilize, not haul heavy head all day. It's the difference between balancing something, even if it's heavy, let's say like a big jug of water on a parking lot post while you're waiting for your partner to come pick you up in front of Target. Balancing it is a little bit easier. It's just small adjustments here and there, right? To keep it from falling over versus actually carrying the thing and having to load your body with the whole weight of that water jug. So that's the idea of the head and the neck. The muscles are there, but really just to make those minor adjustments and movements, not to hold the weight of your heavy head all day long. So what I want you to do is find a group of muscles called the suboccipitals. And to do that, if you take your hands to the back of your head, right where your head and neck meet, there's usually a little knob there, and you press your fingers in, not so much so it creates pain, but just enough so that you can feel the muscles there. And firstly, all I want you to do is move your eyes from side to side, look up and down. And what you're going to feel is a change in almost like tension or texture underneath your fingertips. So those muscles are called the suboccipitals, sub being under, occiput is the name of that bone right there. And they're related to the writing reflex and what your eyes are doing in your head. So when we are slouching, and listen, everybody does it. I do it too. It happens. But the problem with slouching is that your head comes forward. And so remember, heavy head, neck muscles having to work like triple, quadruple overtime. But then you have to look up to keep your eyes on the horizon. So while your neck muscles are usually overstretched, the suboccipitals get almost like compressed, right? They're getting smashed. That's the only technical word I can think of here, in that space right at the base of your skull. So they get irritated. And that's part of tension headaches and that feeling almost like over the top of your head all the way to your eyebrow, which is the continuity. It's one giant sheet of fascia that wraps all the way around. And that tension and also the discomfort is literally like transmitted through that whole sheet. Now, nothing happens in isolation, so your jaw plays into this as well. Not only because your jaw muscles are a part of the neck muscles, but you can feel it for yourself. So if you bring your hands to the back of your neck again and swallow, you should be able to feel a change in tension or change in texture underneath your fingers. So it's all connected. And if one side of the neck is overstretched or overworked and another side is compressed or shortened, all of that is going to feed into everything else. Your muscles are really like cables, and they work their best in their ideal lines of pull. So if things are compressed and too short, they can't work well. And if they're too far apart or overstretched, they again can't generate enough power. And it's the same idea as I talked about on episode 23 about hips, in that muscles will tighten up to protect themselves, especially if they're being overstretched. And sometimes they almost feel threatened. So the fix isn't more release or stretch of your neck. And in fact, I've talked to a couple people, and myself included, whenever I did any massage for my neck when it was all messed up, it would make it feel 1,000 times worse. Oftentimes, if I was feeling okay, doing any sort of neck massage would trigger a tension headache because that tension of my neck was creating stability. And so if you release something that's there for a purpose and creating that stability, it feels very threatening for your nervous system. And so pain is what stops you in your tracks. It protects you. It keeps you from moving until things can tighten back up again. So if you fall into that camp of stretching makes my neck feel awful or massage of my neck feels awful, the better fix is to strengthen all of the posture muscles that hold your head in place. So specifically, work on strengthening your upper back, but in better position. So get yourself out of the slouch and start to work on strengthening through your upper back. I'll link in the show notes. One of my favorite exercises is called wall slides. It's my favorite not because it's easy, but because it gets you into ideal postural position, and then you're having to use your shoulders. So you might be thinking, but wait, that's not a neck exercise. Remember, the key here is to strengthen the postural muscles so that you have better awareness and better coordination to keep yourself in those better positions so that your bowling ball head doesn't tip forward off of your toothpick neck. So the other thing to do is just pay attention to how you carry your head throughout the day and specifically where it's resting while you're working. So if you're walking around on a break, high fives to you. Where's your head? Is it ahead of your shoulders? And if it is, can you back it up so that your ears are right on top of your shoulders? And the same thing if you're sitting at your desk or sitting on the couch or sitting on an airplane. If your head is forward, it is going to add extra pressure to those muscles at the back of your neck, which might be contributing to your tension headaches. Now, the last thing I want you to think about is your jaw, because I mentioned that the jaw is a piece of this as well. So specifically, pay attention to the resting position of your jaw. So right now, what is your jaw doing? If you find that you're oftentimes clenching your teeth together, see if you can relax your jaw every time you tune in. So every time you pay attention, your lips stay closed, but let your teeth relax away from one another. So there's just a tiny bit of space between the top and bottom molars. So that resting position for your jaw is going to help just overall reduce the amount of tension in your jaw, in your neck, in your face, and in your temples. And because tension headaches can come from any part of your head, your brow, your temples, the throat, the neck, the jaw, remember, it's all connected. So anywhere we can pay attention and allow and welcome softness in, the better. So I actually made an entire program called the Jaw Pain Self-Care Guide that includes every exercise and therapy ball bodywork thing that I did to create no more tension headaches. And it's available exclusively inside Movement Mavens. So if you are interested in that, I'll drop a link down into the show notes to check out Movement Mavens. It's closed right now, but you can get yourself added to the wait list and be the first to know when doors open again. But you might be wondering too. So you made this program, you worked through your jaw stuff. Am I completely perfect and pain-free now? And nobody's perfect. So what happens now is that I do from time to time get tension headaches, but way less frequency than I used to. So before it was probably every other week, and now I might get 2 times a year at the most. And honestly, I know exactly what triggers them. So then what I do is like, oh, I've kind of fallen off the wagon. Let me put that back into my Amplify You plan and work on it. So I know exactly what to release and exactly what to activate to make it go away. And that didn't happen overnight. That has come from a lot of paying attention, being mindful, and tweaking my Amplify You plan as I go along so that I bring in what I need for the moment to continually help myself feel better. So feeling amazing and feeling phenomenal every day, it's a word I just got from a recent movement magic call I did. And I think it's so great, right? Because we don't want to just feel great. I didn't want to just feel good. I wanted to feel phenomenal. I want to feel unstoppable. And that's not a final destination. Even that is a moving target, not in that it's never accessible, but sort of like that water bottle balancing on the parking lot post. It's dynamic, it's changing, it's like balance. And so everything I do on a regular basis is to keep me at center, but there will be times where I waver. But I know exactly where I'm going to catch myself and get myself back to center. So the thing is, you can do this too. If you are dealing with tension headaches right now and you're not quite sure what exactly is going on or what your triggers are, I'd love to help you get to the bottom of it. And especially if you've tried all the things, but you just keep clenching through bite guards and nothing is helping, let's talk. Head on over to aewellness.com/apply and you can book a free movement magic call. It's completely free. And everyone I speak to tells me that call is life-changing. It's really easy. I'll ask you a bunch of questions. It'll feel a little bit like an interview, but I'm very nice. And you tell me what's going on, and we together work to come up with a plan on exactly what to do and if and how I can help you. And also, I just really love talking to body nerds like you. I learned just this week on a call on how I can get a Peloton on the cheap. So I'm real stoked about that. But if you are having tension headaches, just know that whatever's going on is not a life sentence. This is not the end of the road. This is not something you just have to suck up and deal with. This is also not something that is just a part of getting old that you have to accept. You know how I feel about that. And it's dynamic, right? Little changes, little tweaks here and there. Finding balance isn't a big adjustment. In fact, you can almost overcorrect. It's about those smaller things intentionally that we do on a regular basis to bring us back to center. And that center is a place of feeling phenomenal and feeling strong and feeling flexible and doing whatever the heck it is you want to do on a daily basis without feeling like your body is holding you back. So here's to asking better questions, moving more, getting nerdy, and no more tension headaches. Okay, you guys? So if you enjoyed this week's episode, do me a huge favor and make sure you hit that subscribe button. And you can even head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review, which helps other body nerds find the show. And I love reading your reviews. You guys are so awesome. And I want to hear your body nerd hack. So leave me a quick message on the Body Nerd hotline at 818-396-6501 and tell me what you do on the daily to feel absolutely amazing. And tag me on IG stories. I'm at Hala Famala. Let me know what your favorite part of this episode was or how you are out there being a cool and nerdy body nerd in the world. I just love seeing what you guys are up to. And help me spread the word that your body is super cool and you can absolutely change the unchangeable. I'll talk to you next week. Listen, friend, we both know that you are not you when you're in pain. But the good news is you can change the unchangeable. Even if it seems like it's been forever, life without pain is 100% possible. And I can help you get there faster. Head on over to bodynerdshow.com and download the Body Freedom Assessment. You'll answer a few questions, and then you'll know exactly what your next steps towards more days of awesome should be. It doesn't have to be complicated, and it won't even take you more than 15 minutes a day.